This is the dip in the market that I don't think anyone is ready for. In today's video, I'm going to explain to you guys what I think is going to happen in the next coming weeks. All right, let's keep this nice and simple here. This is a chart of the SPX, and you can see that we just had 6 red days in a row, which generally, historically, does not happen. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What I want to show you guys is what happened the last time we had 6 red days in a row. All right, so the last time we had 6 red days in a row was in September of 2022. You can see that right after we had these red days, the 7th day ended up bouncing very dramatically. Afterward, to be fair, we did make another low. Then we ended up ripping even higher. And then we made another low. And then this extra low down here marked the yearly low, and we haven't had a low ever since. So basically what I did was I created a bar pattern. So I took these candles in history and I basically overlaid them into the chart that we currently have in the market. So this is currently showing a very distinct pattern. Number one, we have major support here at this 4,800 level, 478, 480 level on the SPY. This was the major breakout point where this move initially began to the upside on the SPY. So this is a very major level of support. And we can see that when you overlay it, the SPY pulls back to that level of support and ends up bouncing afterward based off of the overlay as well. And what this does is it essentially creates a 10% drop from the highs. We bounce off of these lows. It gives an opportunity for bulls and bears to both get ripped. This is the worst case scenario for both bulls and bears, because many bulls are not positioned properly enough to wait for dips lower, and essentially, you know, they're hoping for a bounce way too short term. In my opinion, we do end up chopping around for the next 2 weeks. We could end up ripping to 505 like this overlay does show, but then that would initially bring it down lower. But any sort of drop that we have below 490 on the SPY, 485, anything like that, even below 480, these are all good long opportunities in my opinion for 2 to 3 months out. I would be very surprised if these dips don't work. During that time, I'm going to be looking to long large tech stocks that have been winners, that have good track records, and really looking at getting into Meta and AMD. The other names that I get into, I'll be sharing as well. But for now, we have a really interesting next few weeks on our hands in the market, and I'm excited to see what the market brings. All in all, you have to be very patient in terms of trying to capture this falling knife. Many people lose their entire portfolios trying to catch falling knives by getting into contracts, especially with options, by trying to capture moves too short term. If you were more patient and you just waited to get into plays or calls or swing trades with a longer term horizon, things would be much more safer, and your quality of trades and the probability that the trade would work would also be in your favor. So I hope this makes sense. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. This is my thought process. Regardless of any sort of new lows that we make, the more difficult it is for bulls to be long, that's one, right? And then the other thing is when bears become more aggressive on social media, when bears become very aggressive and angry, those are 2 main things that will lead to an aggressive rip to the upside. So, number one, we just had 6 red days in a row. Historically, we never do. And Monday, we could have a bounce. That's great. But overall, the most ideal situation for bulls would be if we bounce a bit to this if we bounce Monday, Tuesday, etc. But then the most ideal situation for bulls would be if we get a major pullback afterward. After that pullback, making new lows, it'll really just shatter bulls' minds, and it'll make people very, very afraid of going long. At that moment, that's when things become the best, in my opinion, to go long, because there's a lot of fear and blood on the streets. So that would be the best case scenario. I'm going to continue being a buyer in these dips. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Tune in for the next video. All right, take care. Have a good one.